Hi, welcome back to the Actor Number podcast. Today I'm so excited to bring you one of my favorite guests so far. So today's guest is someone who isn't just challenging societal norms, she's dismantling them with grace, wit, broad honesty, and a sprinkle of funny jokes. I always laugh at her jokes and everything that she says. Abby, or Zoomie on TikTok, better known as the girl with the list, has almost 1 million followers, and she has become a powerful voice for women everywhere who are questioning the traditional paths laid out for them on whether to have children, a family, or just, choose their own lanes. So, through her viral-free birth control series and her unapologetic deep dives into realities of pregnancy and motherhood, she has given visibility to a topic that is too often swept under the rug: the not so glamorous truths of having kids and being pregnant. Abby has a knack for saying what everybody's thinking, but doesn't dare to say, especially parents. So, without further ado, let's welcome Abby, and don't forget to take your birth control.
Welcome to the Acta Numbreda podcast. I'm Minty, and here we'll talk about business, freelance, mindset, education, mental health, life, personal growth, and everything to help you overcome your fears, know yourself, and create the life and career of your dreams. Episodes in English and Spanish every week.
Oh my God, it's the girl with the list. Hi. Thank you
Hi.
for coming.
Of course. Thank you for having me on.
Oh my God, I need to ask something. Did you have a baby yet? I keep seeing that question over and over again. Like, dude, just stop that.
According to the internet, I'm close. I'm about 8 months into my
Wow.
hypothetical pregnancy. So I'm hoping I've been working really, really hard. I'm trying to get merch out
Oh yeah.
at around the time that I would be having this hypothetical baby that the internet is convinced I'm pregnant with.
Oh my God, I
I'm
can't
trying
wait for
to get
that.
that merch to be my baby, but we'll see because it's been a process. But yeah, I'm
I love
not
that.
quite.
Looks like you're pregnant with ideas. That's something for sure, and
Yeah,
that's something I
right?
want to talk
Exactly.
about. Smart girl. Now, wait. For people who don't know you, of course, they've seen the introduction that I'm gonna put later because ADHD, and that's something I want to talk about that later. But girl, that's something I want to say before we even get started. Like, I love your series. I love your free birth control, although I particularly don't need it because I always knew that I never wanted to be a mom. And I recently I recently watched one of your interviews, and you said that you too felt like when you were a child, you wouldn't like to play with baby dolls. And I
Yeah.
feel you, girl. Me too. Also a
Yeah.
Gemini. Probably it's a Gemini thing.
Yeah.
But something I want to ask is like, how, for the people who don't know you or are just getting in here, how did you decide? When did you learn that you didn't want to be a mom? And when were you like, okay, it's time for me to talk about this? People need to know about this. They have the opportunity to opt out.
hmm Yeah, I definitely feel like growing up, I was raised in a very religious family where motherhood was very much treated as something that all women do, that's our duty, like on the earth. That is the reason that we're here. That is what, as women, we should be doing with our lives. And I remember learning that as a kid and just feeling this like undeniable sense of dread, just feeling like I don't want to grow up because I don't want to be a mom. I don't want to do these things that I'm told that I'm supposed to do. And I'm scared for my future because that I know what I felt like I was going to have to do, and I was just not excited for it. And as I grew up, I was maybe 15 or 16 when I sort of started to distance myself from the religious community that I grew up in. And it was around that time that I realized that I didn't have to, that my future didn't have to look that way, that I got to decide what my future looked like and what I wanted to do with it and what I wanted to do with my life. And so it was around 15 or 16 that I realized it was a choice that I could make. And the day that I recognized that, it was over. I was like, okay, I'm never having kids. This is great. I can be excited for my future again. I can decide what it looks like. This is what we're going to do.
I love that. Now, this reminds me of something. And of course, I'm not saying people go take shrooms, but I recently for the very first time, I had my first trip with shrooms. And something that I learned is that I'm always like I struggle a lot with panic attacks, right? And like anxiety and also being ADHD, like it's very common among neurodivergent people. But something that I learned in that trip, because you're like very aware of everything that happens, and like you get so many like aha moments that you can't
Mhm.
ignore, is that I was feeling very anxious because I'm 32, right? So I'm older than you, way older than you. But I'm always feeling like I'm running behind, like, oh my God, I feel like I have this big clock. This is the best analogy I can put. Like I have a big clock chasing me, and
Yeah.
like, dude, who's chasing? And I remember sitting there, I was like, tripping and like, woo, Mother Nature, and oh my God, we're so bad. We humans are gonna kill the earth. And then I was like, but wait, I now know exactly why I don't want to have children. Once it's that, like, I feel like,
Yeah.
the earth has a lot already. Like, we don't need to bring more people over it. We're not gonna die out, like, people,
There are a
please.
lot, yeah.
The fact that,
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that Abby is making
No
content
apocalypse
about that.
coming through.
Exactly. We're not gonna die out. So
Yeah, we're gonna be
calm
fine.
calm your tits, please. But now, second, I was like, dude, why I'm always feeling so stressed because I'm feeling like I'm running behind because I don't have the family. I don't have the house and the golden retriever in the house. I'm like, but that's what I chose for myself. I chose to be this person,
Yeah.
just a freelancer traveling. Like, that's the life that I want. So I'm doing pretty well. So, and I found with that a lot of peace, in the sense of like, I no longer need to be running. So nobody's
Yeah.
chasing me. There's no
Yeah.
biological clock after me. So that feels very liberating. And I want to ask you if you yourself experience that, or you feel like people who are older who reach out to you, because I imagine you must get a lot of messages of people like
Mhm.
talking about that. If you've read that before too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I feel the same way sometimes. But I think it's just I think it's very human for us to look at other people and seeing what they're accomplishing and feeling like it's so easy to, especially as women, to diminish our own accomplishments. I just saw on Facebook that like a childhood friend of mine just bought her first house. And it like I was like, "Oh, wow, like, she must have an amazing job. She has this husband that she met in high school, like, they must be doing so well. They bought this house," and it had me feeling a certain type of way, for a few minutes until I realized that, like, I'm not working on buying a house right now. I actually love my apartment. I love living in an apartment. I'm not looking at buying a house right now. I don't know why I'm, like, making myself feel bad. I think it's just kind of something that we do. We look at other people and we're like, "Oh, why am I not doing that?" But the grass is always greener. I mean, I'm sure she's probably looking at other people and being like, "Dang, like I have all these things, but I'm not doing that." You know what I mean? And so I think I definitely feel that way sometimes. Definitely feel like, "Oh, s- you know, I hope I'm doing the right thing. I hope I'm doing what's best for myself." But yeah, I mean, I'm doing what I chose to do, so I try not to get too caught up in what other people are doing, because it's just comparison is the thief of joy is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Especially on social media. I feel like people on social media are always like, just
Yeah.
showing their highlight reels. And that's not
Yeah.
real life for everybody. I mean, of course, I show my
Right.
highlight reels, but I'm not crying and putting that out there, although I could, because I cry a lot. Trust me, I do. But you're not always showing that. So I
Yeah,
feel
we're not
like,
seeing the struggle.
exactly. And you're also not seeing the hard work when you see people that are actually making it. Like, you don't see the hard work. You just see the
Yeah.
highlight reel. So
Yeah.
for people listening
Yeah.
out there, like, yeah, you can make it or not, but it doesn't matter what it is. It's just whatever you see on the internet, it's not always as it's shown to be. Not everything is
Yeah.
perfect.
Right.
Especially in today's economy and with everything happening. Like, if you're alive, you're watching this, you're already doing
Yeah.
fine. Like, trust
You're
me.
doing just fine.
Yeah. Now,
And I'm sure
something I
those
want to,
same people that sorry,
no,
the
no,
same people that
continue.
I feel like we're looking at, I feel like they're probably looking at us and thinking the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like we look at these people and we're like, "Wow, you've accomplished so much. I wish I had accomplished those things." But I'm sure they're looking right back and being like, "Wow." Like, if you look at somebody who has kids, who has a family that is like so happy with that, you can look at them and be like, "Wow, they have everything." But they might be looking right back at you and thinking, "Wow, I wish I had that freedom. I wish I had that spontaneity. I love my family, but I wish that I, had the chance to do some of the things that they're doing." It's just like we're all looking at each other and wishing that we all had what everyone else has, and
Oh, it's always the
it's
same.
just a circle.
It's always the same, and something that I wanna
Yeah,
say about that is I'm not naming any names, but I do know people who are like, on the outside looks like they have everything, right? Like beautiful
yeah,
house, a great job, an amazing husband, blah, 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 the kids. But then when you start talking to them, they're like, I wish I could go back in time. Like,
yeah,
I love my
yeah,
children, but I wish I could go back in time. I feel like
yeah,
I didn't live life. I would have liked, to travel more, to do these things. And now I'm like stuck here with the kids. So
yeah,
yeah, it may look greener on the other side, but probably it's not. And this is something that I'm always like, if someone here is listening and they're curious about like whether you should have a baby or not, because this is something that happens a lot in society with women, especially. They're just trying to put that in as like you have to have a child. How dare
yeah.
you? Like you have a uterus, like that's your job. And
Right,
no, fuck
right.
no. Maybe I just want to give birth to something else. It's probably not a
Mhm.
person. It's an idea. It's a business. It's just living my life. Okay. Like
Yeah,
whatever I want to do. And so
yeah,
something I always ask my, like every time that I'm like, okay, but I'm like 32, maybe it's too late. What if I then like, what if when I'm older, I'm like, oh wait, but I would have liked to have a kid. I always ask the same question since I was like 20. I'm always like, it doesn't matter if I'm going through an amazing time in my life. I'm traveling. Like today, for example, I'm going with my best friend to an emo party because we were emo kids and we're like reliving that. And we're
oh,
both like
fun.
32. Yeah, we just want to surround ourselves with like child free by choice people because we're like,
Mhm.
bitch, we're not having kids. And so
Love it.
we're doing that today. And I'm thinking like, wait, if I had a child, I would have to, have a babysitter. And I'm always asking, okay, if I had a child right now, would my life be better or worse? And the answer is always worse. And I recently went through a very, very rough path in my life. My mom had a stroke. I'm an only child. So I'm kind of taking care of someone. So it's kind of like having a child, but
Yeah,
bigger. And it was
yeah,
really hard, girl. And I was all the time, if I had a child, now my life would be a chaos. So yeah, if
yeah,
you're ever wondering, like,
yeah.
should you have a child, go ask this question, like, would your life be better or worse with a child in it?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. I mean, my mom has also had some health issues this year, and I have felt so lucky that I don't have kids because, I do have siblings, but I'm the sibling that has the most freedom and the most extra time. So I've been out there. I've been able to fly out at a moment's notice when she needed emergency surgery. I was able to get out there and help take care of my family while she was in the hospital. Like that has been such a huge blessing for me just to have the financial and the physical freedom to drop everything and go help out where I'm needed. Like that is such a huge blessing for myself and for my family. So
Hmm.
that has been huge, huge.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something people not don't talk about that very often. Is that child-free people are always taking care of their parents. All of the people that I know who are like child-free at my age, I'm like 32. Many people my age already have children. Most of the people I talk to, they don't. But those who do, they're like taking their parents out on vacation, buying them houses, like taking care of them, like, doing the work. But there's something
Yeah,
that I have to say that I do feel it's a little bit, and I want to hear your opinion here, but I feel like it's a little unfair is that, and I see that a lot with my gay friends. Um, when you're the person that doesn't have a family of their own, it's like, oh, you have to take care of them. You have to take care of this because it's you. There's no one. In my
yeah,
case, of course, I'm an only child. There's no one else that can do it. But for people with siblings, I see that a lot, especially
yeah,
in gay people. That's so heartbreaking for me because it's like, wait, everybody should be taking care of their parents. It doesn't matter
for
if you have
sure,
a child or not. You're still a
for
daughter. You're
sure.
still a son.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely feel like I mean every family is different. But I definitely feel like it's a shared responsibility. I mean, our parents raised us all together when we were kids, so it's, we all got to take the time and the effort to to give back to them in the way that they gave to us. So, I would hope that everyone shares equal responsibility, but I just know that not every family's like that. And some people end up bearing the brunt and doing more work than is fair. But it's hard. You can't say no sometimes because they're your parents. Like somebody has to take care of them. And if you're in a position where if you say no, then they just don't get taken care of, like that's
Yeah.
so hard. So my heart really goes out to anyone who has to,
Hmm.
pour more of themselves into that situation than is comfortable for them. That's really hard.
Yeah, and I feel that that goes out a lot to the people that throw you hate. I see a lot of hate, not just towards you, like every child-free woman by choice, when they make their videos, you see a lot of hate, especially from
Yeah.
men, which is something I want to touch on later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's something they don't see, like, oh, you're so mean. Like, oh, how dare you? Like, you're so selfish. Dude, we're taking care of our family, okay?
Yeah.
Like, that's not
Yeah.
we're not the selfish people here. Like
I know.
it is
Yeah.
not. And in fact, I
It's,
will make the case that having a child, it's a little selfish, but that's something. It's just a thought of mine. But you never know. Like,
yeah.
have you asked this person if they want to come to life? I mean, I'm super grateful for my mom that she had me. A lot of support and like just for the people that went through that, because of course we still need a few humans to keep this running, but not too many. Like, I
Yeah.
mean it. Like, it's hard, girl. Like, when you see that, it's like, wow, hats off, because it's actually hard to go through that.
Yeah.
I
Oh, for
respect
sure.
that. I don't want that,
Yeah.
but I respect that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Absolutely.
Abby, I have a question for you. Now, your list
Yeah.
has been growing. It has been
hmm
growing.
It has been.
How many items do you have already?
So, right now in the video series itself, I'm on part 282 on the like video series. The list oh my gosh, the list itself uh is around 150 right now. And part of that is because I don't have everything transcribed over, and part of it is because some of the videos that I make, like there will be a repeat situation, so I can't put the same thing on the list twice, or it's like, I'll respond to a comment that like doesn't quite make sense in list form. So the list itself is about 150, and the video series is about 280.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
we're
So
getting up
many
there. We're
reasons
getting
not
up
to
there.
have a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
And
of
I get
all
a new
those
one every
reasons,
day.
oh, for sure. Now, from all of those reasons, what's the one, the top one for you? What's the number
Oh
one reason?
gosh. I
Or
mean,
the
for
three?
me,
I'll give
like,
you three.
yeah. Well, oh gosh, there's just so many. Like, I think that I think that just like the way that it changes your body is a huge thing for me. I always think about how like so many pregnant women say and they experience that they don't have full control over their bladders anymore. And, like, that's a huge reason for me, like, I don't wanna ever have to be in diapers, you know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
poor pelvic
that's so
floor,
hard, like,
girl. Like,
you always hear moms say, like, they sneeze and they pee themselves, and I'm like, "Gosh, like, I don't want that." I don't wanna put my body through that. It sounds painful, it sounds exhausting, like, I just don't like, I don't want that. There's also a financial aspect for sure. It's a little bit more of a basic answer, but, like, it's so expensive just
it's
to
valid.
live. Like, I'm already, like, I'm paying my rent, but I'm not, I'm not making enough money to, like, buy a house or, I'm doing well for myself, but it's not like I'm doing so well, whatever. And I feel like if I had a kid, like, I'm sitting in my office right now, so we have a two-bedroom. This office would not be my office if I had a kid. I'm so
Oh yeah,
lucky to have a space for my work and my creativity. If I had a kid, I wouldn't have that. Like, this would be a child's bedroom, and I wouldn't have that, like, extra space because we just wouldn't have the money for an extra bedroom like that. We wouldn't have the
same here.
money to be, yeah,
Not having
right?
my
Like,
studio,
yes, it's so nice, and having a two-bedroom is expensive. Three-bedroom, forget it. Like, I just wouldn't be able to have an office if I
especially
had a
in,
kid. Like, we wouldn't be
you're
making the
based
money.
in LA, right? Especially there, I
Mhm.
feel like,
Yeah,
girl, the prices.
yeah. And I love it here, but I don't think we would be able to live here if we had kids. It's too expensive. You know, it's
Right.
expensive for me and my boyfriend. It would be impossible if we had a kid.
Hmm. Yeah.
We'd have to move back home or somewhere else
Hmm.
that's cheaper.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it might take a big toll on your relationships as well. And I'm wondering now, because of course I'm not dating or any of that, but like and you don't either because you have a boyfriend too. But do you hear people like, I don't know, maybe your friends or something? How are people approaching this? Because I feel like this is something you have to put out there. Like as soon as you, I don't know if as soon as you meet someone, but like I feel like that's a chat that you need to have with the person, and
Yeah,
like when it's the right
yeah.
time. What do you hear from your friends or anyone else? People who write to
I get
you,
a
like I'm
lot.
curious how they navigate because
Yeah.
it wasn't like that before. Because the norm before,
Mhm,
like a generation before mine, I'm a millennial. You must be a Gen Z, right?
mhm.
The
Yeah.
previous generation, they
It
still
was
had
just
children.
expected.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course. And the
Most of
previous,
them were
well,
just
don't even
like
let
it was
me.
a given.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
you'd never ask
yeah,
that. So now how do people, how are younger couples navigating this, during the dating process?
yeah. So, I myself, I got really lucky in that, I met my boyfriend, I was 19, he was 20, and we just got really lucky in that just, like, neither of us really wanted kids, so when I brought up the conversation to him, which I did bring it up early because I do feel like it's something that needs to be brought up fairly early, I brought it up to him, and I do remember being a little scared because I knew that I didn't want kids, like, um, and I was like, "Hey, like, this is a deal breaker for me. Like, I really like you, but if you want kids, I wanna stop this right here because it's just not gonna work out if you want kids because I know I'm not having kids." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. Like, I've never envisioned myself being a father. Like, I'm good with that. That's cool." And I was like, "Okay, phew, great. We can keep
You
going."
won the lottery.
Um, yeah, I really did. I really did. I get a lot of questions from younger women or women around my same age that are looking to date and having a lot of trouble finding somebody who has put the thought into it. Because I think as women, because we're raised in the way that we're raised, we kind of have to make that decision a little earlier and like think about it a lot. We have to put the thought into it because it's
Hmm.
something that's expected of us.
Yeah.
And
And it's
men, I
biological.
find, yeah, and it's biological and it's our bodies and um men they just don't put the thought into it that women need to. They don't think about it very much. So I
No.
think it's hard to find a man who knows that he doesn't want kids because I don't think they're thinking about it very much. So it's tough. I definitely feel like it's a conversation that needs to be brought up pretty early just because it is like it's a major difference. Like I know a lot of couples who, like one of them wanted kids, one of them didn't, and they ended up dating for a few years and had to break up 5, 6, 7 years down the line
Wow. And
because
that
one of
must
them
be
wants
like
kids and
such
the
a
other doesn't. So
heartbreaking breakup,
heartbreaking.
girl, because it's not like
Yeah,
I stopped
because
loving
you love
you
each
or you're a
other.
piece of shit, you can say whatever here. Like I'm
Yeah.
always say I'm a truck driver. But like it's so sad. Like imagine just breaking up because of that. Because you didn't have the
Yeah,
chat when you had to have it. And sometimes I feel like it
yeah,
can change. I mean, I have friends who don't want to have children. And from the get-go, both were like, yeah, it's okay. We're on the same page. I don't want to have a child. And
mhm,
then like 7 years into the relationship, the guy's like, you know what? I actually been thinking about it. And I feel like I do want to have a child. And I'm like, oh,
mm,
well, we talked about this, but of course, it's your
yeah,
life. You want to be a dad, go be a dad. It's not going to be with me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. It's definitely like a major lifestyle thing. So it's tough out there to be dating and especially when men just aren't putting the thought into it that because I
Hmm.
feel like they don't think about it until they're like until they're much older. I swear like men don't think about being a dad until they're like 40 and then it's like okay,
When they
well,
have their shit
maybe you should have thought
together.
about this. Yeah. Maybe you
Yeah.
should have started to think about this a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough out there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Especially I feel like when they have their shit together, that's like where like they're like, what's the next step? Like I got the house,
Yeah.
we traveled the world. What's the next step? A child. But that's something that I feel it's actually sad. And this is something I wanted to ask you. Like, do you feel like for some people this is like a dopamine thing? Like, what's the next thing? I reached this level. For some people, it's just happened. They don't think about it. They have children when they're super young, or because they grew up, like you said, you grew up in a religious family, but you got out of it, like you were able to think for yourself, and you're like, even though they taught me this, I know that this is what I want for myself, and I'm gonna fight for it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna stand my ground. But some people don't, and
Mhm.
and then they regret it. But for other people, it's like maybe they have it all together, and then they're like, oh, but now that I give it a second thought, maybe I feel like I need this. Do you feel like that's genuine love? Because like, how can you love something that it's not there still, like it's not even inside of someone's body? Like, how do you, because they say that they love it, and women that talk about the maternal instinct that I never felt, girl, like I don't know what that feels like.
I know. I
I
feel
feel
like
that
I feel like kind of think I'm like,
with my
what maternal
cat,
instinct? Yeah, my cats. They
but just with
fulfill
my
any
cat.
maternal instinct I've ever had. If I ever feel like I need to squeeze something cute, I just go
A
and I
cat.
get my cat.
Yeah.
It heals everything in me.
Yeah, for sure. And but I feel like, do you feel like that's something selfish, like the desire to have a kid, or not selfish, or like egocentric, like, oh, I don't want my genes to die, like I told you, I'm an only child, it dies here, it's close,
Mhm.
it's gonna die here, I don't fucking care, like I'm not that
Yeah,
special, like, I don't want to give my child autism and ADHD and Hashimoto's, like, good for
yeah.
me, good for the child that is not being born in my case, poor baby. But like, what do you think about it?
I definitely think that I think that intrinsically, I don't think there's a way to avoid being selfish no matter what you choose to do with your life. Like I've always said, like I'm absolutely living a selfish life. And I love it, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I think that a lot of people maybe consider parenting to immediately absolve you of all selfish instincts and urges. But the choice to have a kid, I do think, is a selfish one because it is something that you want for yourself, and it doesn't. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is. It is a selfish thing. Um, and so, yeah, I do think that having children is a selfish choice. But I don't think being selfish is bad. I don't
No.
think that that's bad at all. I think that parenting is a very selfless act, and a lot of people have to reconcile and like give themselves away to their child and um, it can be very selfless, but the decision to have a child, I do think is a selfish one. Um, but again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think we're all selfish. I think that we all make choices based on what feels best for us. I mean, we are human, we are selfish creatures, and we're all making decisions that are with ourselves in mind. So,
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And something that talking about that, the selflessness of being a mother, because yeah, it is really a selfless act if you're a good mother, which is why I'm very strong about the idea that people really need to think about this, because sometimes it just falls on your lap, and some people don't have any choice, which unfortunately, I don't know if this is something you want to talk about, if you know, but like, I really feel bad for your country right now. In Argentina, abortion is legal, and I'm so glad that it was passed, because it wasn't before. Because I feel like it is so sad to see women lose control over their bodies and their decisions, where they want to take their lives. Like, we're
yeah,
citizens, like we're not second, they're treating us
yeah,
like second citizens, like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
I have a saying in my body. I'm a complete body autonomist as long as I don't hurt other people, in the sense of like, just like, anti-vax or stuff like that during the pandemic. Like, I'm all for science, right? But
yeah,
I feel like it is so sad to see like we're going backwards, because I feel
yeah,
like looking at it from another country, in Argentina, like our president is like, I don't know if you've seen the news, but like he's a little, and I'm scared for our rights to here, because I'm feeling like
yeah,
that could be something that could happen here, like we can go backwards. it is so heartbreaking to see that, because some women don't have a choice. Like, they don't have the
Yeah.
sex ed. They probably grew up in a rural area, or here in like a slum. So it's really sad that they don't get the option, or they get their
Yeah.
option taken away. Like, we should be progressing, not going backwards.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about that. Like, how is, and this is just me being super ADHD curious, like, how's sex ed in the US? Do you feel like it is enough?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. It's I remember like I barely got anything. I remember having like the talk or whatever when I was in, I don't know, maybe 8th grade, and I remember feeling a deep sense of injustice because they took all the girls in the room and they showed us one video, and the boys got to go outside and get an extra recess. And I felt like that was so deeply unfair, first of all, and it just hit, and then we weren't really learning much. I can't remember exactly what
Wait, but so
this
they
video
didn't
that
get
they
the
showed us was.
talk, the
No.
boys? What?
No, they got to go outside and play football. I was like, "Hello?" So, yeah, I don't know what they were doing there in that school,
Oh,
but it's always been like that. It just feels like health and babies and reproductive rights has always been something that, like, men just don't have to worry about because their rights are not under attack. They can do whatever they want. They don't get punished for anything. And women have to bear all of this responsibility and all of this injustice and fight literally tooth and nail not to to get our rights taken away, and still we're progressing backwards despite all of our efforts. And men don't have to do that. They just get to do whatever they want. They no consequences, and women are stuck going backwards and getting our rights taken away, and it is so
oh
unfair.
yeah.
It makes me so frustrated. I'm so frustrated at the state of our country right now. I'm so mad. I see there was just another woman in Texas just the other day who ended up losing her life in like the parking lot of a hospital because she needed a life-saving abortion, but it's illegal in Texas and she wasn't able to get it and she literally died. It's like, great. Is that really what's best for our country? Is that really what we're doing? This is what we've chosen to
That's
do?
crazy.
It's
It is
crazy.
crazy that, like, someone's life is so not important. Like, how can you feel taken care of, or like protected by your country and your doctors when that happens? Girl, stay in Cali, please. Don't move away.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
it's
know. Oh
so
my gosh, I'm so
sad.
lucky to live here.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
are. But like, that's the thing. And how many states do you have that with legal abortion still,
Oh, I
other
can't
than
remember
Cali?
exactly the number. There are a few. I could maybe look it up really quickly.
No, it's okay. I probably New York. I feel like New York,
New York,
California, Washington.
Colorado, Washington, I believe. There's a fair amount. I
Oh,
think there
well, that's
are
good.
more because there's different levels of it. There are states where it's protected no matter what. Like California is a state where it's like protected no matter what, like you can do it. In some states it's like there are certain situations in which you're able to get one and not in other situations. So there's like different levels and then there are states where it's like hard banned, not going to happen, not allowed. So it kind of varies from state to state.
Hmm.
The southern
Yeah,
states are going to be the ones where it's more likely that it's just like
yeah,
flat out banned. Um, and some of the like California, Colorado, they're protected in those states.
yeah. That's really heartbreaking, because like, if you don't have the money to move to another state, if you really need like an emergency, you're
Yeah,
fucked.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is.
and it's hard too because the women that say there's a woman who's getting pregnant and she doesn't have even the gas money to drive to another state just to get an operation.
Yeah,
That woman
they don't even allow you to
now
take a pill in some states, right? Like the
I think
day after. No.
the pill is allowed. I do believe in all 50 states. You can
Oh,
get pills even like shipped. Like I know there are websites
now,
that will
but do you
ship
think
you
it's
a
going to
pill.
keep happening after January? Or do you think that could change in some states?
I
Because
I
like,
don't
something
know.
that scares me, and I'm like, what's going on with this like billionaires? Well, I'm talking about one particularly, who I'm talking about, but like, why do they want to push natality that much? And like, even if you make it terrible, um, like he's like all about like having children and yada yada. But like when you see him, he's like he only has like a favorite child. Like he's the worst parent ever.
He's
Like,
the
why are
worst.
you pushing that? Why do you think they care so much about whether we have children or not? Is that because they feel like they're gonna run out of, I don't know, like workforce? Like, there's gonna be fewer jobs with AI growing. Like, let's be realistic. There will be newer jobs because of AI, but so many of them will be like so many of the jobs that we're seeing right now. I feel like they're not going to exist anymore. And some of them, and
Yeah.
the scary thing about this whole new thing is that it's like people would make the comparison with like, the industrial age, but you cannot compare that to something that is more intelligent. Of course, it's not intelligent, it's just machine learning, but it can
Right.
write better than most people I know. Like it can
Yeah.
speak different languages. I cannot speak all
Yeah.
languages. It can, So
Yeah.
with that growing, there will be fewer jobs. So why do they feel so scared about the fact that we're choosing not to have children? What's the problem with that?
I definitely think it's a workforce thing. Elon Musk specifically has said in the past that he's scared that people won't have children because there won't be enough people um, to replenish the workforce in 20, 30 years. And it's disturbing to me. You can tell that he sees us, the regular people, the people who aren't billionaires. He sees us as cogs in a machine. He really actually does not see us as human beings.
Oh yeah.
I feel like if he did see the rest of the world as human beings, he would use. I think just came out this morning that he's worth 400 billion. He like just hit 400 billion or something like that in his net worth. If he truly cared about humanity and what was best for humanity, why has he not used his money to solve world hunger? And homelessness in America. He has enough money to do that. He has
Education,
so much
so
money.
many problems to solve.
There are so many problems to solve, and yet he spends his day fighting women who don't want to have children on Twitter.
Yeah.
He is
What?
But it's
I
true.
don't
I mean,
get
it's
it.
like he just wants a workforce. He just wants people to work in his factories. That's actually what it is. Um, and people see him as this like genius, and it makes me so frustrated because he
Oh
just
yeah.
he does not see people as humans. He just sees them as a way to make more money for himself.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can see through the bullshit. But like that's the thing. It's like because I used to look up to him before, because before he wasn't like that. He was all about like the environment. And I was like, maybe this dude can help us, And I was like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I have hopes. And then everything
he's
shifted. I don't know what
he's real.
happened.
Yeah. No, I remember there was like an interview of him that went viral like 10 or more years ago where he was like smoking weed on this podcast, and it was like
Yeah.
kind of back before weed was like a little bit more normalized than it was 10 years ago. And everyone was like, "Wow, this dude is so smart. He's so cool." And I remember even being like, "Wow, like this is cool. This guy could really help us out." But then as he got richer and richer and richer, and every day he wakes up and chooses not to solve world hunger because he has the money to do so. He has the money to invest in community, he could build museums or parks or community areas, and yet he chooses to hoard the wealth to make more wealth for himself. Every day he wakes up
Mm,
and chooses not to do something good and
yeah.
instead build another rocket to send another rich guy to space. Like, do we really need that? Is that what humanity needs right now? Because we have a lot of issues that
Do you know
that
what? I
he
have
could
a
solve if
theory.
he wanted to.
I have a theory, and I feel like these people come to you very often. Like they must be your number one fans. So I feel like it gives me, you know what it gives me? It gives me like incel vibes, but like now that he made it and that people are looking up to him, he's too busy pushing his own tweets, and I'm still gonna call it Twitter because what
Me
do you
too.
call a tweet? An X? An X? Is
An
that how they call
X
it?
post or whatever. I don't know. It's stupid. I never call it X. I think it's the
Oh yeah,
dumbest thing ever.
no. But
on
like he's
Twitter.
pushing it. If you get there, you'll see. I don't follow the dude, and I'm always seeing his tweets in like the notifications area. Like, and I keep saying like, see less often, block, and I keep seeing him. Like he's so busy trying to
Yeah.
like be this cool dude. Like he thinks he's cool, but you're actually not cool. You were cool before, and now you're no longer cool, dude. Like, stop it.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's an insult thing because you can tell he was an insult before. Like
Oh, for sure.
you can smell that when
Yeah.
the hair grew
He's a
back. uh,
He's a weirdo. He's a weirdo. I mean, there, he spends so much time, on his public image and like trying to be seen as this really cool guy. But when you do some like deep dives he said some weird things. He's a weirdo. He is like kind of a loser, and I don't know how he got so rich, but
just
he's a
because he's
loser, and
smart.
all the other losers love him. Yeah, he
Look,
is smart.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
tell you
he
something.
made
I'm
Tesla. What are you
autistic,
gonna
so
do?
I kind of get the autism thing. Like he's smart, but he's not people smart. That's the thing. And
Yes,
now
yeah.
that people are following him, he's like, oh wow, people love me. But
Yeah,
the
people
curious
love me.
no, dude, people don't love you. Incels
People
love
don't
you.
love it. He's like, "Oh, my tweet got 40 million views. People love me." And it's like, "Well, no, because you sent it out. You put it
Yeah.
on you put it on everyone's algorithm. We had no choice to see it. If I could, I would erase you from my mind,
Oh
but
yeah.
you're paying to be put in front of your mind and then using that as proof that everybody loves you. And it's like, "No, we're so tired of seeing you, but you won't stop putting your face in front of our screen."
Oh my.
So
No,
annoying.
I gotta ask you something. Are you on Blue Sky?
I am. I am. I
Oh,
joined Blue
I
Sky.
like
I
it.
like it actually. I'm
I
liking
like it.
it.
It's
It's
so
fun over there.
refreshing. It
Yeah,
is
it really is.
refreshing.
It's
Now I
it
want to
when it's
ask
like an
you.
algorithm that doesn't wanna sell me something, it, like,
Oh
actually feels
yeah,
good over there right now. So,
yeah. It's like Twitter. It
yeah,
is
it's like
Twitter, in
old Twitter.
fact. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It feels nice. Now, something I want to ask you. Talking about social media. Oh gosh, I have so many questions. I don't know where to start. But like with the incels, the other day I was listening to a podcast and I got really scared. Like New Fear Unlocked. I
Mhm.
started seeing this woman. It's in Spanish, unfortunately. You can watch it with subtitles, but it's so interesting. This woman is she's like psychologist, and she's always like inside of a mind off. And I remember I saw two. One was like inside of a mind of a Russian woman, because you know that they're like very you know how they are. Like, I'm not saying that they're all
Mhm.
like that, but they're like kind of frivolous in the sense of like the man has to pay for everything, and you have to be. Every time that I open TikTok and I see a video like you have to be a traditional wife because you have to wait for your man because your man is gonna take care of you. It's always the fucking Russians because of course propaganda.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I saw that and it made so much sense because it's waved into their society. It's so heartbreaking. And then I saw another one that was like inside the mind of an ex incel, and the guy used to tell the things that he saw, like because there's like different types of them. It's like you have the gym bros, which you wouldn't expect that they are, and then you have the
Mhm.
incels, like the autistic guys, and then you have like the techie guys. So many of them, and then he said that they have like a Reddit. They have their Reddit threads, that they use, and there's sometimes they even like they get together and they're like, I want to destroy this woman, and they do that, like they collaborate to in some way, shape, or form get that woman out of their job for some reason because they
Yeah.
feel like threatened by the women. And
Yeah.
then they go even as far as like even talking about like raping a woman, and they're saying like it is okay if she doesn't want to leave you inside her body, she doesn't want to have a child, it's okay for us to do that. Like it is so scary that narrative it keeps growing, and it scares me because I live in Argentina, and with our president, he's like Donald Trump too. Like it's kind of the same vibes. It is so
Yeah.
sad that that's growing. Being a woman, it's scary. It's
Yeah.
scary because that
Yeah.
is growing, and they're
The
giving them a
internet is a dark
platform.
place.
It
The
is.
internet is a dark place for men. There are so many. It's sad to see them fall down these Reddit rabbit holes of red pill content that just makes them miserable because they're miserable. They're so sad. They're
Yes.
so insecure. they're so unhappy with their lives. They're so lonely, and they find community in being horrible to women. They find community in disgusting behavior towards women, and it's so sad to see. It's
Yeah.
I wish that we had some sort of resource or or solution for these men who just keep finding themselves in this miserable,
Yeah.
miserable situation where they are just sitting and wasting their lives away, just hating on women, and then feeling lonely and not understanding why. Like, they feel so entitled to the company of a woman, but they don't realize that the behavior that they exhibit makes women feel unsafe.
Exactly.
And it's like, 100%. You walk up to one and you can just tell. You can tell when somebody's an incel because they just have this look in their eye, and they just, like, they don't treat you like a human. And then they are like, "Well, why am I so lonely? Why don't women wanna be around me?" And it's like, "Well, because you freak us out. We can tell you're dangerous.
Hmm.
We spent our whole lives watching out for ourselves because we have to be safe because it's a scary world for women out there, and we can tell when you're a dangerous person, and we don't wanna be around you." And then they blame women on their loneliness, and it's like, "Well, you're just we don't wanna be around you. Maybe you should work on yourself so that women wanna be around you if you want the company of a woman so
Yeah.
bad."
And they get, and I feel like that's so many men, like, I don't want to say smart because, like, they're not, but smarter than them probably, are preying on them with this, like, they teach them how to be more masculine and, like, take my course. I'm like,
Yeah.
why don't you just listen to a woman and see what they want, instead of,
Yeah.
like, buying into this bullshit, like, masculinity camp, and, like, they're just ripping you off, and
Yeah.
they're only keeping you. It's like, they're trying to keep you from getting the girl, because they will lose a client, like,
Yeah,
hello,
absolutely, absolutely. It's
hi.
money. It's all money. It's all money, and they're stealing money, and they're scamming these men and these masculinity courses. It's crazy to see because
Can't
if you
bear
just
to
talk to
see it.
women, like, nobody wants that, and yet these men are making millions of dollars profiting off of male insecurity. And I think as women, yeah, I think it's hard for us to see because we've spent our whole lives uh being sold this exact same crap, right? You know what I mean? Like, women are
The
constantly
princess.
being like, we're constantly being told to buy a new product because oh, we're going to get wrinkles, we can't age. Like, we spend our whole lives uh people profiting off of our insecurities and creating new insecurities for us and then profiting off of those. And so I think that we started to see it a little bit because we've been doing this for years. Like, we're experienced. And then to see, because it's kind of I feel like it's a relatively new thing for men
Mm.
where they found that they can profit just as much off of male insecurity as they can female insecurity.
Yeah,
And
and I
so
will
we're
make the
watching
case
this
that even
happen, and
more.
we're like, wow, it's like, yeah, it's true because they're going to be willing to give so much money, because they, promises of more money down the road and whatever. It's crazy to see. It's so hard to see as women, because we've
Yeah.
spent our whole lives being told this crap, and then we see men falling for it, and we're like, guys, I thought that we all knew that this was like a thing that people do to make money, but you guys don't see that, and you're just giving millions of dollars away to men who don't deserve it, who are just making you feel worse about yourself so that they'll give you that you'll give them more money. Like, it's so sad to see. It's so
Yeah,
sad.
it is. And talking about that now, I feel like I need a girl with the list of the things that we hate about men, so that they stop doing that and they stop spending so
Yeah.
much money. Get the list. It's cheaper than
Yeah,
listening.
honestly.
No, but, like, seriously, I feel like with all that, the incel thing, I feel like your comment section must be flooded by them, because I see them sometimes.
Yeah.
I sometimes I look at I go through the comments that you get, and I see them, and I see them in other pages as well. There's a woman, I think her name is Wild She, and she's all
Yeah.
about traveling with
I love
other
her.
Childfree. I love her, and she's always
Mhm.
getting hate because she's living life. They wish they were
Yeah.
her. Like, she's just
Yeah.
there in the yacht. Like, imagine hating on her. She's like there, she's
Yeah.
living life.
They're
Like,
so jealous. They're so jealous, and she's so beautiful, and so they're just like they see her page and they feel a type of way about it, and they don't know how to process that healthily, so they have to leave her
Do you know
hate
what
comments,
that
and it's the same
is?
thing with my channel too.
I feel like that the thing is they see her and they see you too, like beautiful women living their lives, and they have the image of like, the 40-year-old woman with the cat, like, and they're like, oh, but this is so beautiful woman. Why does she want, but she's going to wake up other
Yeah,
beautiful women to live their life, and like, hello, yeah, we can all do that. It doesn't matter our
yeah,
age, it doesn't matter how we look,
yeah.
like we could do that, like we have a brain,
They
we
feel
can
threatened by it.
decide. Oh, for
Yeah,
sure. But like now, something I want to ask you, and I don't want to keep you here for long because I know you're super busy, but and we're coming straight to the hour. But I feel like I could keep talking about this so much because this is a topic that really hits me because I've
yeah.
oh gosh, is it not
There's so
many?
much to talk about.
Oh
There's so much,
yes,
like, nuance and situations, and yeah.
yeah.
I love
Now,
to
how
talk
do
about
you?
it.
Oh, let's keep going. How do you handle? Because I feel like with so much hate and that you must have like very thick skin. So how do you handle the hate comments, and how do you handle the aggressive comments? Because I'm a scary little baby. Like sometimes I feel like I would love to make content in Spanish like you do, but I feel scared because of the incels scare
Yeah,
me. Like they're scary. I
yeah,
feel like they actually are
yeah,
a
yeah,
scary group of people, because think about this, we're talking about young men, testosterone, not getting their needs met, getting ripped by this other man. They're telling them that they're gonna, if they do this they're gonna get that, and it's never happening because it in fact those courses are made for them to never get what they want. So they're being lied
yeah,
to. So the anger is bottled up, and then we have these leaders that are like, pushing them and like making them feel like they're entitled, and we're coming for their jobs, and we're excelling at everything we do, and we actually are, because for once in our lifetime we have the chance to show the world what we're capable of, and so they feel threatened. But it's not
yeah,
about feeling threatened. It's like we're here together, we're humans, like we can build something great together, or you can hate on
yeah,
me, you know
yeah,
but how do you
yeah,
handle that, like the fear of just talking about these topics with how aggressive people are, and to with the hate comments?
yeah. I I don't know. I don't when I see a hate comment that comes from a faceless account with, it's 0 followers, 0 posts, following
User one two
3,000
three five.
people. It's like, I like I don't know, cause I do get this question all the time, like, "How do you handle the hate?" Like, it bounces right off because I just, like, they could say whatever they want, and it just doesn't matter to me because who is that? I don't know that person, like, whatever. And, I think I guess maybe at some point I just got used to it, maybe it's normalized for me, which is maybe not the greatest thing in the world, but I think the love and the support that I receive so greatly outnumbers any hate that I get, that it just bounces off me because the love is so much greater than the hate, and so the hate just doesn't matter too much to me because for every hate comment I get, I have 10 DMs from women thanking me for doing what I do and for empowering them and for making them feel like they weren't alone and for helping them find a community. And I get so many beautiful DMs from women that when I get a DM from a faceless, nameless man, I'm like, whatever, whatever. This guy, his opinion just, it literally bounces right off. I'll never think about it again because, and most of the time, what they're saying is ridiculous. Like sometimes I'll respond to a particularly ridiculous
Oh, the
comment.
last one,
Um,
your last
the last one,
video. Oh my god,
crazy,
I saw that. What did it say?
crazy.
Oh fuck, like
It was,
you're killing
something
people.
like, "You're killing every post you make, every woman that you convince not to have a child is a child that you personally killed." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, that's a little crazy." Like, that one was so outrageously crazy, I
Yeah,
couldn't
no, it's
not
crazy.
blast him on the internet because it was such a crazy thing to say, and a lot of times the hate comments that I get truly are so irrational and so full of
Because
just, like,
fear is
blind
irrational,
rage.
Abby.
Yeah,
That's it. It's
yeah,
fear.
that's what it is. 'cause they're
But
they're
it's better.
afraid, they're threatened.
Keep feeding the I need my content. I need my
Yeah,
child free birth control doses. So yeah, keep on
yeah.
going. Bring the
I will.
hate.
I'll never stop. I'll never stop because people love it. I love it. It's given me such an incredible opportunity to talk about things that I'm passionate about. Like I do, I love to come on a podcast and just to yap about this stuff because I really do. Like I'm truly passionate about it. I'm so lucky that I have been able to build a platform and do what I do because this is truly like I'm so passionate about it. I love to see women make choices for themselves. I love to see women live for themselves, whatever those choices, if they choose to be a mother I love to see them love being a mother. If
Hmm.
they choose not to be a mother, I love to see them enjoying their lives. I love to see women thrive. I
Exactly.
really truly love it.
Yeah,
So
being
I'm
free and
lucky.
making informed decisions. Like
Yeah,
that's what it all comes
absolutely.
down to. Like
That's what it's all about.
feeling sure
Because
about
our
it.
grandmothers did not have the choices that we were able to make. Our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, like I think about my great grandma mother on my grandpa's side a lot because my grandpa always talks about how she had so many big dreams. She was beautiful and she loved to do beauty pageants. And she won like Miss Utah in 19 something, and was like so happy about it. She just like she was so beautiful. Um, she loved beauty pageants and she wanted to be famous. She wanted to be an actress, and she had kids, and she gave those dreams up. And I feel a little bit like I feel like a little bit like she's my guardian angel because I feel like I'm making the choices that she didn't get to make herself, and I just feel like I can feel her smiling down at me and being like, "You go, girl! Like make those choices that I just didn't have. I didn't have the chance to make. Like she didn't get to choose to not have children. She just had children because that's kind of what women did back in the day. She didn't
Hmm.
have any other sort of choice. She didn't. There was nothing else that she really could do at the time. So I just feel like I'm so happy to live through my ancestors that maybe wouldn't have had kids if they didn't have to, and maybe would have done different beautiful things with their lives if they didn't have to, be homemakers and to stay home and take care of the children and feed their
Yeah,
families and all that stuff. Like
it's a
we
lot of
live
work.
in such an incredible time where we are able to go to school and have a credit card and own property. Like so many
Yeah.
things that we even
We
take
take
for
for
granted a little bit.
granted, and like 50 years ago, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 50 years ago, things were very different for women, and so that's why I hope we don't go backwards because we live in
Mm.
such a beautiful time for women, and I love to see us, you know, taking advantage of all the relatively new opportunities that we have.
Yeah, and it's just getting started, and I love it
Yeah.
because I work with marketing, and most of my clients are women, and women-owned businesses are just so fucking amazing. Like we're really good at business, and we're
Yeah.
creating jobs. We're doing a lot. Like people got to
Yeah.
give us credit and let us be,
Women
and
are
like
natural
there's
born
no
leaders.
hate. Yeah, and there's no hate. Like for women who want to have children, go have your children. Like as long as it's your choice and you're doing it like
Mhm.
from the desire to give love to someone, give them the attention that they need, because that's something that I think about that too. Like financially I could have a child, like, but I'm like, but mentally I wouldn't be able to handle that, like having
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
the stress
It's
of
so hard.
like you put a video recently of a woman that was scared about something very hypothetical that would never even happen to a child, and I feel like that I would be that woman. Like,
Totally.
I'm
Absolutely.
like that with my cat. I can't imagine what I would be like with a child. With no, it's just it's not for me. And also like you have to give it your all, because I feel like bringing a child, it goes beyond yourself. It's a responsibility towards society, because you can bring a child and break it, like you can traumatize them, and you
Yeah.
can birth a Putin,
Yeah.
like, or you can birth someone amazing.
Yeah.
So it's a huge responsibility. I don't want that in
Yeah.
my hands, to be honest. I don't want to
Yeah. Oh, for
traumatize
sure.
anybody.
For sure. I mean, it's a hard job. Like you're raising the future generations and, the world is in your hands basically. And I don't want that responsibility. I really don't, like that's stressful. And to anyone who's doing that, like round of applause for raising the next generation. That is a tough job. It is not easy. It is not easy.
No, no, especially if you're in the neurodivergent side of things,
Yeah.
your life is
Yeah.
already hard. Like you don't need to make it harder. But like if you choose
Yeah.
to, that's good for you. As long as like
Yeah.
you know how to deal with it and you take it
Yeah.
seriously. Now, something that I want to ask you before I leave you go, because I could keep going on forever. Do you like traveling?
I love to travel. I love to travel. It's one of my favorite things to do. I can't wait to do more of it. I have 2 plans tripped already, 2
Ooh.
trips planned already. I'm going to Portland, next month, and then, we're going to Vegas again in a couple months. I love to travel. I just bought Coachella tickets. I know
Oh.
that's not like, it's just
Ooh.
California, but, I love to travel. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that too. And I feel like in the future, I don't know if that's in your possibility of things. Like I feel like you could do it. And now that I hope TikTok doesn't go away because I just love it. I found so amazing. I found so many amazing people on TikTok. Like I
Yeah.
found you on TikTok. I'm like, I love this girl. And like you, there's too many of them. But I feel like you could in the future. I completely see you like, you know, create like I don't know, organizing trips for child-free women. That would be amazing. Cause
Yeah, that
you
would be
know,
amazing. I would love to do
yeah.
that. That would be
Because
fun.
something that I see and I just if they're listening to me, this goes with all my love. For some friends that I had, like some of my best friends that had children already, it's something that I see happens, and that's one of the things that scare me the most about having children. And some of them are actually brave enough to admit it. You start seeing how they kind of lose their individuality. Like all of a sudden, everything
Yeah.
is the child, the baby, the baby, the baby. You start seeing their Instagram was all about their lives and you know traveling and having fun, and now it's just babygram.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be me. I
I
mean, I
know.
feel
I
like
see that
that's
all
a
too often.
personality trait, but oh gosh, so many people lose their identity once they have a child. I don't want
Yeah.
to lose
Well, it's a
myself.
tough it's so tough. Like, you really have to like pour your whole self. You get no sleep. It's hard to like go out see your friends. Like you have to arrange childcare to be able to go out of the house. Like it's tough. I definitely that's something that I hear from a lot from mothers is like they feel like they just lost themselves in it
Oh yeah.
because it's just so much responsibility. You're on 24/7. You have, you don't really get to take a break. A lot of women can't even, take a shower for the first 2 weeks that they have a baby. You know what I mean? Like they're just like you don't have 15 minutes to yourself. So I can understand how like you just like
Yeah.
lose yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's tough.
that sounds like a nightmare. And
Yeah.
before I leave, I want to ask you. I want to close this on a funny note. I
Yeah.
recently, well, it's not funny for the mama, please, poor woman. But I saw the video where the woman, she fell asleep and then she woke up with a new hairstyle by the
Oh my
child.
god.
They
Yeah.
put like
Yeah.
all of the glue in her. Like, how did they
Glue and
find time?
makeup.
Imagine how
I
tired you must
know.
be as a mom to be asleep and not even realize that your child is just like there doing their thing with the glue, and like you wake up with
Slipping
the.
away. It's
Now, I want to ask you, Abby.
crazy.
You seem like a nice girl, but tell me, did little Abby do something that could go into any of those videos? I sure have, and I feel so sad for my mom. I broke her arm. She was
Oh,
painting the house,
no.
and she was in a like what do you call it? Those stairs, like it's just a stair. Like she was just painting the house, and I couldn't walk at that time,
Mhm.
but I missed her, and I started going like, "Mom, come down," and I started going like, back, back, boom. She fell. She broke her arm because of me.
Oh,
And I remember one
no.
time, I was I was like a year and a few months. I was terrible. And she was outside cleaning and I took the keys and I locked myself in and the oven was on. My mom was going crazy and I was such a bad bitch at that time. I
Oh,
would get
no.
close to her with the keys like this, you know, like, and mom was like, give
Oh,
it to
no.
mama, please, baby, give it to mama.
She's
And I would go
panicking and you're just
running
playing a game.
the opposite, and I was just I was trolling her, and I wasn't even
Yeah.
2 years old. So
Yeah.
what did little Abby do that could go in
Yeah.
the videos?
So, I was a chronic pants peer. I was peeing myself way too often for too many years. I would just laugh at something. It was always like laughter that would trigger it.
Oh,
And I remember being in 8th grade and like I was way too old to be peeing I was 8th grade. Like you should not be peeing yourself in 8th grade, but I was just standing out. It was recess. I was standing out with my friends. One of my friends made a joke and I just started to laugh and I just stood there and I peed myself and my mom had to bring me a change of clothes and I was always peeing on her floors. I would start laughing and I would just let it all go. And so my mom was always cleaning up my pee. So
oh,
embarrassing. I was way too old to be doing it, but I would just pee my pants all the time. So my
just
mom's having
imagine
to
cleaning
clean up
pee
my pee
until
and
for 8 years.
cleaning my clothes. Yeah. Way too long my mom had to deal with me peeing myself. So that was that's my that's my personal addition to the list.
Yeah, for people listening, take your fucking birth control.
Yeah, take your birth control.
Now,
You don't
Abby,
wanna end up with
before
a chronic pants fear.
oh no way, or a child that breaks your arm. No, thank you.
No.
Now, Abby,
Not worth the
before
risk.
we leave, is there any question you would have liked me to ask you, or anything you want to close with?
Oh gosh. Um, boy, I don't know. Thank you for having me on. I'm super grateful. I really do love to talk about this. I love to talk to other child-free women. I love to see women who are, choosing to do whatever they want with their lives and succeeding and doing it and loving it. Um, so I don't know. I just close with thank you and thank you for watching my videos. Thank you
I love
for
your videos.
reaching out, and I'm so glad that we got to do this. This is awesome. I will be listening to the rest of your podcast. This is
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, and I love your videos because I'm always sending them to my friends who still want to have children to see if I can change their
Yeah.
minds. I managed to
Or at
change
least have
one
them
of
wait a
theirs,
few years.
so thank you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah, girl. Like
Very
I
good.
want child-free friends, or
Yeah, I know,
otherwise
right? I
there
know,
should be a
right?
community where we're like, girls, we're going to Italy, we're going to Greece, we're going,
Yeah, right?
like that. That should be the
We
next
should be.
step.
I mean, we have all this extra disposable income that we're not buying diapers with, so
Yeah,
what else are we gonna do with it?
yeah. I love it, and I can't wait for your merch to come out and the book. Are you gonna make a book?
Yes, I am. It's so tough. I want to do it right, so I don't want to like. I'm trying to get in contact with some sort of like publishing agency or whatever. It's really tough. I don't have a team. Like I have a manager who sometimes helps me get brand deals, but like I don't have a team. I don't have anyone like teaching me how to do this stuff. Like I don't know how to publish a book, but I have the content for it. Like I have the audience for it. I have the content. Like I can write a book. I just don't know how to print it and distribute it and sell it and market it and all of that stuff. So
Yeah,
it's been a journey, but I will be coming out with a book. I'm hoping 2025. If I can get it out in the next year, I will be
yeah,
super happy. I would love to be able to do that. So
yeah. It's a whole process. I'm a ghostwriter, and I know what it is. It's a
yeah,
whole process. It takes a while, but you can also
yeah,
self-publish, and all the proceeds go to you to fund your
that would be
travels,
great.
your
Yeah,
child-free travels.
my child had
Okay,
trouble.
Abby, thank you so much for coming. It's been really a breath of fresh air
For
to
having
talk to
me.
you. You're amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you
this
for
is
your
great.
content. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Like what you heard? Please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, share it with your friends, or anyone you feel needs to hear this message today. And don't forget to leave a rating, it helps a lot. Thank you for staying.